How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to our live stream, and we are back this week with some more live entertainment for you guys. It's going to take a while, pretty sure, for you guys to join in. But for those of you that are already joining us, please feel free to start sharing this stream, like and subscribe it. Let me know that you guys are out there. We're going to be watching through our phone and on the computer. Today I have a special guest, a good friend of mine that I met through DJ Ivan, and I've kind of gotten to know him a little bit, and I like what he has to say. So please help me welcome Gordon Deltenre.
Deltenre. Gordon. How about just Gordon?
Gordon. All right, Deltenre. I committed the crime number one of DJs, mispronouncing.
It's a toughie. We're just Gordon G. We'll go with that. Thanks for having me, Francisco. That's fun to say.
Yeah,
I can't not.
It's easy.
That.
It's easier to say though.
But
So, how's it going?
Pretty good. Been a little bit. January's been a little bit slower for us.
Has it?
Not too bad. Still, keeping work, but nothing like December.
December was jam packed.
Holy moly! Yeah.
Recovery.
Barely saw anybody, but
Oh,
I do enjoy that.
I saw that post that you put that I'm sorry to all my friends and family, but my industry friends will understand. Like, yep, it's December.
Well, in the nature of our business too, of what our approach is, and primarily with my wife, focusing on family. I'm coming out of a background of family entertainment. Mm-hmm. Holiday gigs have been our bread and butter. And now that we've started adding the musical entertainment, the DJ and MC entertainment too, that's just expanded. So,
okay. Tell us explain to us what your actual entertainment. So how did you get started first into the industry, I guess? Well,
historically, and I can't really, I really should have brought my wife with me because we've been doing this as a team now for quite a while. The first foray into entertainment many years ago had done some audio work, actually even roadieing for country music star Jerry Reed. We did some work for him. Different groups. My father had a band, so just learning music boards, learning snakes, and doing a tiny bit of MC work there. That led to some opportunities where I moved to Des Moines, Iowa, in the Midwest. Next door neighbor was a comedian entertainer, and he ended up with a television show there through public access that had different opportunity to play different character parts. And that launched me to where I had the opportunity to do stand-up comedy, which had done that through Gavin Jerome Productions, through Spaghetti Works and the Spaghetti Warehouse. And that really kind of set the hook that it was a cool thing to do. It was an unbelievably hard thing to do. But I got to see very quickly that the MC side was... that was gravy. That was money. That was the awesome part. Yeah.
You liked it right away, or
right away, immediately? That just clicked. It just fit.
I've seen you. You have a natural talent for
it. Did seem that way, that there was some
MC.
Natural
with
ability with
it. Still make it seem easier than it actually is.
I actually kind of like to talk about that. And we did that workshop class on not so much even, and we go into the techniques that are involved with it, but really the mindset about public speaking, about being an MC, about redirecting and focusing energy, attention onto certain topics, onto certain people. That grasping that, I think that's 90% of the battle. As we move forward in '96, I met my wife, Becky, who has been in children's ministry forever. And 20 plus years, maybe 25 plus years in children's ministry. When we first started dating, I asked her, I was like, is there anything that you'd like to do that you've never done? And she wasn't answering the question like I'd hoped. She said, I want to be a clown. And I was like, okay, cool. It wasn't what I meant at all. But I said, I started pounding her on that topic every day. It was like, hey, have you found out, why don't you do it?
Yeah.
In '97, summer '97, she attended clown college, which was here in Houston. One of the biggest clown communities and big clown alleys organizations was here in Houston. So she became Skeeter the Clown, and that was a life-changing direction for both of us. Although we had other businesses and things that we were doing, from graphic design. I just retired from law enforcement and was focusing all my time on graphic design and motorsports graphic design, digital communication. We have a small oil and gas supply company. But more and more, the biggest revenue stream was coming out of family entertainment. Okay. So much so that after just a year or two of her being a clown and maybe doing as many as 5 birthday parties, 5 gigs on a particular Saturday, we had an opportunity to do a safety show for IKEA. So I developed a clown character persona of my own, Jiggles the Clown. We put that together. The pay was phenomenal. I went, okay, family entertainment. I can swing this. That went on where we for the past 20 plus years, been doing, from balloon twisting to face painting, different clown shows, all different types of family, more juvenile entertainment. Right. We developed networks and relationships with entertainment companies and with clients. In the meantime, still working as an audiovisual director at our church, staying in the performance, the technology, sound, lighting, all these things. My friend Rolly Gutierrez, who is also a clown, a phenomenal clown and entertainer and juggler and all around everything, and DJ, had convinced me, and then again, Mike Morales had, at the same time, they were friends, had said, yeah, Gordon, you really ought to look at DJing. So this was just about 4 or 5 years ago. Started that, and it's exploded.
So at the time, you weren't doing any music. You were just doing entertainment.
Yeah, working alongside DJs. Yeah. A lot of the events that we would go to, there would be a DJ present. And when it occurred to me, hey, I'm here for 3 hours, making $150 an hour, and the DJ's here for 8 hours, making $2,000. I'm in the wrong side of this. So, yeah. So
that's when it kind of clicked in. How long ago? You said 5 years?
About 4 to 5 years ago, I think that had started. And it was just a natural thing. It has really, really clicked. Because of that, we have such a unique approach to the business. And a lot of times when we talk to people or have the opportunity to do these workshops, the intent was never to be a DJ or anything even stereotypical on a DJ. It was more coming out of children's entertainer and adding that element.
The musical, being in charge of the music, not only the entertainment part of it.
For sure.
The stream here, but it's kind of stuff. All right, so we'll get some questions on this one too. Turn on your mic, Francisco. Okay, it might be too low. We'll see. Test. All right, we should be on. Okay. And then when you got into DJing, how did you find that transition?
Actually, through mentoring, Rolly Gutierrez had me go alongside him, help him be a roadie for just a couple of gigs. Again, I was already familiar with powered speakers, the setup, the mixers. And when the first few gigs when I started DJing, I was using a little 8-channel Mackie FX mixer as opposed to even a controller. And people came alongside. Hey man, here's a current playlist that we would work with. My first few gigs, again, we're back into children's or family entertainment. So I was already comfortable with the clientele. I wasn't doing the club DJ thing. I didn't do weddings. I didn't go into schools, high schools. It was a learning curve and just kind of ease my way into the water. When I realized that it was going to work, that's when I had to immerse myself into music. Okay. Current music, especially hip hop, urban. Just had to learn the music. Had to get on the decks and learn how to do my Transformer scratches, my baby scratches, all these things I thought I need to know as a DJ. Beyond. Yeah, if I'm going to do it, you have to do it well. And now that pendulum has kind of swung back, we're like, okay, these are the things that are important. This is what matters to my business. This is what matters to the customers. And these are the things that are not so important. So,
another DJ with law enforcement background, says Oscar. How
it all starts with get out of the car. See, put your hands in the air, wave them like you just don't. Yeah, that's where it goes.
Oh Lord, you go into the routine without even getting into it. How important was dancing at that time?
I've never really been a strong dancer.
Yeah.
No. If I don't have a pole,
as far as for you.
So
I meant for your client. Like your parties you were in, was there a lot of dancing, or was more music to go along with the entertainment?
The dancing started coming along.
Okay.
Pretty pretty quickly.
Because these are birthday parties, maybe what, clubhouses.
Well, the first few probably for corporate or community clients. I don't recall that there was even a dance floor.
Okay.
It was more, we're going to have it's going to be a family event. There's going to be rock walls and bounce houses, and we want some background music, and we want somebody to interact with the kids, play a hula hoop game or something like that.
So it was more of the entertainment,
that was
interacting.
That was
the music was just the background.
Yeah, it was probably 4 to 5 months until I first trial by fire, which, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was a prom, actually. Okay.
Oh, you just went all out with a big prom.
Yeah, yeah. They haven't called me back, so that didn't go real well. No, but I did know, watch the Grammy Awards, and as opposed to when I was in my 20s, you turn on, you're watching the Grammys, you're like, okay, there's Van Halen, there's Sammy Hagar, there's The Who, I know everybody. You get to the point where in your 40s, watching the Grammys, like, who is that? Who, what?
What do they sing, and why is it popular?
Yeah, seriously, had to intentionally immerse myself in the music.
Yeah.
And then
how are you doing with the new music nowadays?
Love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Finding a way to work it into your...
Oh, yeah.
So, now are you doing more... so are you doing both entertainment and DJing? Absolutely. Or more DJing?
Cannot separate them.
Yeah.
The times that I have to reel in being funny and communicating and just focus. If it's a dance, if it's a junior high dance or a high school dance, or weddings, they're not going to be Mr. Haha the whole time.
Yeah,
there's going to be times
a little bit more
to focus on that.
Formal.
But they find that they do merge. There's an opportunity. Humor is timeless. It's endless.
Oh yeah.
And yeah.
What do you think was your best influence, or what would I say? So if you want to be funnier or incorporate humor into your, like us DJs that don't use it as much, how would you go about safely doing it?
Studying it was my approach.
Studying.
There are people that are just funny by their nature.
True.
They're funny. A lot of them use it as coping mechanisms, come out of troubled childhoods, everything else, and they just things that are funny. The approach that I had, and this is something where the first few starts. My brother contracted AIDS during the height of the epidemic, and while we were in Des Moines, Iowa, had the opportunity to do some MC work for some of the AIDS awareness programs, and that was such an alien environment to me, and that was coincided at the same time where I was doing stand-up comedy. So I was finding different balances of how to go out and just prepare a funny set, to going in and emceeing, redirecting, talking about some serious issues, and just keeping a balance, keeping things lighthearted. But what I needed to do to pull that off, or my approach being really analytical, whether it was something of, if it was flying an airplane, whether it was studying psychology or sociology, which was my major, was to find out why things work the way they do. And one of the real simple things to approach was, I just need to know, why do people laugh? What is going on? What is the dynamic? And why are there certain entertainers, comedians that in a modern climate, the blue collar comedy tour, Larry the Cable Guy, Puffy, different comedians that are funny in a stadium setting, in a stage setting, maybe don't translate real well to television, or recorded, or vice versa. Different levels of intellect, and breaking down, why do people laugh? What's the mechanics? Makes entertainment, and it was that's a very unfunny thing to do, to break down the dynamics of why does this joke work in this setting, it doesn't work in that setting. How do I come off where I'm a douchebag here? They're laughing at this one. But again, talking about, you're asking about how to be funny for other DJs. Again, for me, studying that and an awareness, a realistic awareness of who you are, what's your persona, and what you're trying to achieve for the listener, for your customer. Mm-hmm. And simple analogy would be, if you're providing a good or a service, if you have a restaurant, your business is a restaurant, there are times that a restaurant can be very, very successful selling cheeseburgers, even nasty little, Mickey D cheeseburgers. Other times your clientele is the Fleming Steakhouse, the Eddie V's, and you're doing tomahawk T-bones, and there's going to be different marketplaces, different times. knowing what your customer base is and what to deliver them. A prime example where see people really get sidetracked or get pigeonholed into one stereotype or one persona is with the wedding DJs.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm constantly asking when I'll meet, anytime that I meet a bride, when I sit down and we won't do a wedding without sitting down with the couple. One of the first questions I ask them is, why do you want a DJ? It seems like kind of a benign question, but I really want to know what they're looking for.
What the expectancy is, what they have in mind. That's very important. Yeah.
Well, what's happened within the industry, I was in a Hobby Lobby line waiting, and a lady in front of me was getting some stuff and talking about doing her wedding. And marketing opportunities, like, hey, do you have a DJ? And immediately her response was, oh, God, no.
Oh, wow.
I was like, wow. And I wasn't even prepared for that. So I'm stumbling with you're not going to have a DJ? No. I was like, well, who's going to make you're going to do first dance and all that kind of stuff? It's like, yeah, we have the music and we're going to be playing that. And the officiant is going to be announcing those kind of things. I'm like, oh, okay.
Really?
I was thrown off. And it kind of came back to me that, because I'll ask the same questions to DJs all the time when we do these workshops, or just to know if I'm communicating with them there, what is of interest to them? And I'll say, why do you want to be a DJ? I've even posted that on Facebook. Why do you want to be a DJ? And it's surprising how few come back and say, well, it's a lucrative business. It's a business model. It's something I want to do. More often than not, they're like, I like the culture. I like the groove.
Mm.
And when you ask a little bit more questions, they're like, man, I just want to be identified as something. I want to be the cool guy. DJs are cool. I want to be cool. How many gigs a year do you do? 4. But I get to call myself a DJ. And sadly, the stereotype, I was doing wanted to put up a little ad, and I was Googling the search, douchebag. I was going to look for douchebag DJ.
Okay.
And when I was doing Google search and I typed in douchebag,
Lord.
the 4th line down was DJ automatically. They're becoming synonymous.
Oh.
And
well, you've seen all the Saturday Night Live skits, and how do you make a person less powerful? Put DJ in front of it.
Yeah.
Abraham Lincoln. Make it less powerful. DJ. Abraham.
It's not a term of endearment or respect.
It's not.
And I thought about that before. Introduce yourself. What do you do for a living? I'm a DJ. Well, really?
Really? No. What do you really do? Wow, what do you do for money?
But there's a lot of DJs out taking the approach like, hey, I'm the DJ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a very big ego-driven
it is.
industry, especially if you make people dance. You can easily see, you can easily let it creep into your mind, saying, "Hey, I can do this the way nobody else can do it."
Well, you have to have personality. You have to be gregarious, and there's a certain amount of ego, even arrogance, perhaps, that goes with that.
But some people let it go past the normal. You do need ego. You do need arrogance. You do need self-confidence.
Right. Well, there you go. Yeah.
But then you go into I'm above and beyond.
Bravado persona, a little different than arrogance or cockiness and compensation. Back to the topic in asking a bride, why do you want a DJ? And for the entertainers that are out, and I'm saying this because successes that we've had have been in the contrast of that. Or when I was saying just a moment ago about accurate self-assessment. Okay, nobody is going to come to see me perform or entertain because I'm handsome, because I'm sexy, because I'm a good dancer. Maybe the funny, maybe self-effacing funny stuff. Because I'm 53 years old, a little thick in the middle, a little light on the top, all of it. And for even just the market, not a corporate, just a bride, for example, if a bride that's been fantasizing about her dream day, her wedding for her entire life.
Yeah.
At no point during those fantasies as an 8-year-old little girl did she see this dude.
No, I don't even think she saw DJ. She
Probably
saw herself
not.
having fun with her husband.
Right.
And family, and
right.
That's it.
And I guarantee you she did not see a DJ eating a sandwich behind the decks.
Sitting down texting while he's supposed to be,
or throwing some of these.
Yeah.
That was never in her fantasy thing. So we're asking a premium amount of money, and over we see DJs going in to, that's what I'm supposed to be. I'm a DJ. I'm going into that with no real awareness of what does your customer want. And
well, a lot of that picture of what a DJ is comes from Hollywood or going to clubs and seeing a DJ do all that. You know,
there's a stereotype to it. And you know what? There is a place for it.
Yeah, but not weddings.
Yeah. Or not in the corporate environment.
Not even corporate.
Well, and that's the thing of the assessment. If you're trying to be funny, who is your audience? What you're going to do on a college campus or what you're going to do at Spaghetti Works. The difference between going to a spaghetti warehouse and a Friday evening was totally different than a Saturday matinee. Same joke. Killed the night before, crickets the next day. Audience awareness, and that you can't go in what you're going to do at a high school prom. You try and do that at a wedding, they're probably going to run you out.
Yeah, true.
But
you lose them quick.
Yeah,
and it's hard to get them back.
For sure.
almost impossible.
Sure. I'm almost thinking of steering away from when I first started. It was DJ Gordy. Mm-hmm. Just went by that. I have the website and stuff. I've just kind of steered away from. Almost don't want to market myself as a DJ because of the negative stereotype. Now that has been compounded through social media sites like Bride to Bride, which I got off of. That is
really,
oh my gosh, what a travesty! That is that is the client setting the price.
Oh yeah,
and it is a race to the bottom, and everybody that's falling in line with that stereotypical DJ thing, the quality, the qualifications, everything has gone out the window, and there is no exclusivity, and there's nothing really personal or professional about it. On that topic, DJ Roland, Music Man, posted last night, said we're going to be on here doing this interview. Said what kind of topic, and we said, how do you get reviews? What I found, I'm not authority on it. People do way better than I do. We are doing really good on our Google reviews, and we spent time on that. The one thing that has initiated reviews more than anything, in the comments, you can read them, about us, have been the things that we've done that were personal to that bride. I don't think I've ever gotten reviews where it was something as kind of benign or almost not superficial, I don't want to diminish that, of great music choice, kept the dance floor hopping, all that kind of stuff. It was something that was personal about them. Mm-hmm. And that's back to the fantasy thing of what does the customer want when they're going to go out to Perry's and spend $80 a person on dinner, Trulux $250 a person on dinner. They're going to have certain expectations. With the corporate or wedding clients, the same thing. And so I initiate that in the very first meeting with them, and even more so, my wife Becky, when she's meeting with a corporate client and we're putting together a very elaborate Christmas package. What do we want to convey? What do we want it to look like? What do you see it looking like, so that we can be a facilitator for what their vision is? That, when it comes to the customer, and I'll stay on weddings because it's right forefront. When I'll sit down with a bride and I ask that question, why do you want to DJ? What does your wedding look like? And I'll say, what does your dress look like? How formal is it? How casual? Is it comfortable? Get a really quick idea of how much they want to be a fairy tale princess in the center of it, or the brides that are on the other end of the spectrum. And I've had one bride say, man, I just want this over with. Yeah. Or they get anybody to look at me.
Some get anxious when they got attention on them.
Right. Well, you could take the same approach and say, listen, if this bride doesn't want attention focused on her,
you can't.
What elements do we bring in to redirect?
Well, imagine if you didn't ask those questions beforehand, and you're like trying your what do you call it when you do the same cookie cutter technique?
Yeah.
On these brides, and you forgot to find out that she didn't like the attention.
Right.
And then you're trying to put all the attention on her. That's going to be you're not going to get that review.
Yeah. Oh, no. You're not going to get a good review. But the other part of that is studying the audience, how to be funny. Yeah. And I would like to do another workshop. At our church, we did a stand-up comedy growth group. It was a 12-week growth group. And,
Oh, wow. 12 weeks.
you know, I communicated to everybody, said, listen, guys, this is the hardest thing you will ever do.
Yeah.
This is, imagine if you're a musician and you had to perfect how to play your instrument, and you had to get up for 30 minutes with completely original music all by yourself.
Wow.
And engage
and it's got to work.
30 minutes. Yeah. Scary. Yeah. It's freaking tough. Luckily, as a DJ MC, you don't have to do that. Little snippets here and there, little comments, but what's tasteful, what's appropriate. And I'll share one little tip that we do with that. Anytime that I meet a bride on our questionnaire, I get the maid of honor or matron of honor and the best man's telephone number.
Yeah.
And reach out to them. Because want it to be personal, want it to make their fantasy. The bride may communicate really well, and I'll ask questions, they're going to be looking at you. Is this a good thing or bad thing? The first kiss, your first dance. Do we want to put spotlights on you so everybody can see? And they'll say, no, I don't really want the attention. I want to make it shorter.
Yeah.
I talk to the maid of honor, matron of honor. Hey, you're their best friend. Tell me about them. Tell me about her. Plus, 50% chance maid of honor is going to have a wedding in the near future.
Sure.
And they're going to be doing the toast. It's time to interact with them. Oh, while you're doing the toast, let's do these other elements. Let me put a soundtrack behind it. Let me put little snippets. How do we make it more? And then coming back of doing little specials, encouraging that relationship with the other wedding members too.
Yeah.
Those are the things that have come back for the good reviews, where I found it.
But it's more like you are part of the you're not the DJ, you're part of the group. You made yourself part of the group because you're already involved. The two special people to them, and best man, maid of honor. Right. And then, see, I have this thing. I don't think I've ever asked for a review. So, all the reviews that I've gotten have been because they went out of the way to find out how to do it. I do think reviews are important. Obviously, and I think it's easier for people to leave a bad review than to leave a good review.
I'm beginning to believe bad reviews are phenomenal. Our mutual friend Ivan, is above reproach. The guy's a rock star. He cares, and it shows.
Oh yeah,
everybody knows that he loves what he does, and he loves his customer. So he had fantastic reviews. Somebody who we think was a fake account.
I was there when
no friends set up and slammed him. Oh, he had tattoos and showed up, and all the people that know Ivan kind of gathered around, and they were all supporting him. And I think it was probably one of the most the most positive things for his business, because he got 5-star, 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 1-star. Oh, he had tattoos, and then everybody's jumping to his defense.
Right.
And I thought that was really, really cool. So he's like, no press is bad press.
No, definitely. But well, you can tell that one was a fake review. I mean, all they said was he has tattoos. And
what? In 2020? That was terrible.
So they're telling me it's freezing somehow. We got Mario, we got DJ G-Man on Mario, and then Mike Mireles says it freezes.
Mikey's here. Hey, Mike.
What's up, Mike?
Love you, bro. I called him out too with Rolling Good Tears. When I first started, Mikey was on, he had just wanted to explore a new element, his bubble parties. And he started Bubble Parties of Texas. A friend of his, Rob Peters, that he had networked with and met, had built a business model that was successful. And Mikey was on fire. And I know he had some family health issues with his dad and everything at the time. But the guy was out cranking, and he gave me a lot of work, a lot of opportunity. And I'd already been around kids before, but there was so much feedback that I got from him because I was bringing the DJ stuff into it. He's like, Gordon, listen, you're doing this, but the lights, if you take the lights in there and you're just giving them to them, you're painting a really negative picture. I hadn't even considered this because I'm just like, I just want to be liked. I want to be good. I want to do all these things. And he's like, if you go in there and you donate all these lights, the person that has to follow you has to do the same too. And I was like, oh, that's a business thing. So, yeah.
So, like, how did you, like the clients that were already used to that, how did you manage that? Did you tell them, or you just didn't bring it up next time? How did you manage that one?
I don't recall. I don't know of going back to the same ones. I think we kind of edited them out.
So
or
it's been a year, they probably forgot.
Yeah, but I do remember communicating with people and say, listen, this was bad on me. I like to bring in the lights and everything. It's not a fair thing. We don't want to disappoint you,
Yeah.
try and cover it.
Trying to recover it.
Because Mikey had trusted me a lot in communicating with his clientele, with his customers. And I think there were a couple of times I'm sure that he had to get back in and say, oh yeah, Gordon's coming out. Listen, he's new to this. He's done this. But we had some good times and learned a lot. And that was paralleling right in. I wish that I had come alongside some experienced DJs when I started doing more of the adult and the wedding stuff, because there was a learning curve with that for sure. And I really didn't align myself with.
But do you think that also helped you, that you didn't tag along with the experienced DJs, because you kind of went?
Well, you learn trial by fire, you mean? Or?
No, you set the bar higher. If you would have learned from one of these DJs that are cookie cutter, you would have said, "That's all I have to do." Maybe even got discouraged.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I mean, I think when you put your head down and work, before you know it, you're above and beyond.
As opposed to just copying.
Right, exactly. You tend to put a little bit more into it, I think. I mean, one of the things I wanted to ask you, your opinion was, one of the things that I've kind of heard over the time is work smarter, not harder. What's your? I'm not gonna give you a background on that, but
I don't do either.
So don't work at all.
No, my motto is, if your wife can do it, let her. So this isn't like this.
It's not on his right. Because my thinking is, you got to work hard, regardless.
Oh, it is. This is
you got to work hard. There's no such thing as working smart. You have to work hard at whatever you do. Whatever you do. I mean, even if you're working smarter, if the guy next to you works harder, and he's gonna pass you up sometime. We
talked about getting away from bride to bride, of throwing our fishing line into that pond. Okay, there's a fixed
and it returns with the no, you're too much. We want to
exactly
1/3 of that.
What we're focusing on, and actually, we went up on our pricing on weddings where we're pretty stinking expensive.
Yeah,
we're quite a bit more than anybody, quite more than everybody. But the approach was, if we're going to do a wedding right, talking about the amount of work, I added it up on a normal wedding. We'll put in close to 30 hours.
Yeah, sounds about right.
On that wedding.
20 to 30 hours at least.
And that's two things. One, no longer, I freaking hate this, right? Hey, I have a 4-hour wedding.
Oh.
I need a DJ. Oh, that'd be $2,000. Carry the seven. That's $500 an hour. My attorney doesn't get $500 an hour. Why would I pay $500 an hour? That's
Imagine
ridiculous.
telling that to an attorney that's getting married.
Yeah.
I don't even make that
trying
much.
To break down. So we say, and it's not like, oh, it's only 3 hours long. Oh, good. Then after your wedding ends at 10 o'clock, I'll go pick up another one that starts at 11.
Right.
You got me for the whole Saturday. You got me for the whole Friday.
You can't do two on one day.
Two. And to do it right, and that's the approach. It is somebody's freaking wedding. Most important day of their life. It needs to be above reproach. It's got to be perfect.
Yeah.
And with that working smarter and not harder,
I think you got to do both.
You can't do the not harder, because this is hard work.
It is hard work. If I were to want to incorporate a lot of humor into it, it's not just writing a joke and reading it, right? Write a smart joke and reading it. You have to practice. You have to go. Like, you did stand up. Mm-hmm. So you already have like a second nature to what stand up is and delivery.
Okay, but the organic thing, and people that I'd worked with that had just, there was one guy had come in, I remember his name was Rob, can't remember his last name. He had just come off, he was opening for Robin Williams. And I said, oh man, I'm relatively new. I've only been doing it about 6 months at that point. I'm like, wow, Robin Williams, he's phenomenal. Improvisational. He's a hack. The guy's a freaking hack. I thought, is this just petty? Is this jealousy talking? Say, no. He comes across that all of his stuff is organic and he's on the fly. He said, you do the same shows with him. Boom, 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 boom. Over and over and over. Same line. I just came out of this. It was rehearsed. When we would write, 15-minute set, that was probably about a month's work.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous amount of time to come up with something that was original, do timing, do delivery, changing words, tweaking it. So the natural ability to do something, took you so far.
Yeah,
I'm willing.
I agree.
The natural ability brings you up to the microphone. Hey, everybody, you want to hear this? After that, you got to deliver something. And who are you delivering it to? That's back, cannot emphasize importance enough. What did they want to hear? And the other mindset with everybody that wants to be a DJ, wants to have this persona, this identity, wants to have the business card and go DJ. It's not about us.
No.
If you're Skrillex, if you're David Guetta, if you're Marshmello, you're Deadmau5, sure, you're a producer, you're iconic, people come to see you. For the most part, they really don't give a flying flip about the DJ. The DJ is to solicit and initiate a response or a feeling on their part. A comedian's job, talked about this before, is to initiate laughter, to make them feel good.
Yeah.
If you tell jokes that are too sophisticated and they don't get them, and you have one chance where people feel stupid, you are toast. The really intellectual, sophisticated, and there are some funny, smart guys that it takes you a second to grab, and you're like, whoa, I get it. That's funny. Those guys are poor. They're starving to death. And you get the people that are kind of mundane. Okay, Gabriel Iglesias. Okay, his stuff is just self-effacing, pudgy guy. Everybody can identify with him. Real life, he's making fun of cultural stereotypes.
Yeah.
And everybody in the crowd feels superior. Same thing as a DJ. In a wedding, in contrast to true performers, Damon Pampolina had the opportunity to work with him. He grew up as a Disney kid. He's working, he was on the Mickey Mouse Club, I guess, a contemporary of Christina Aguilera and Justin Timberlake and those guys. The guy just oozes coolness. He probably gets out of the shower and hears people go, oh. He's sexy, he's smooth, he's talented. And you can just watch him and you're enthralled.
Yeah. I've never seen him. I know who he is, but I've never
probably
seen him.
Ain't happening here.
Yeah.
Probably ain't happening for 90%.
But you do have charisma. You do have charisma though, on the mic and in
for
person.
For how long? Okay, but that's again to deliver an announcement or to direct. My job is for the audience. If I'm preparing the mistake, back to the food, have to satisfy something that they want. And if the bride wants to be the center of attention, there's some things we can do to draw attention towards it. If she doesn't want to be the center of attention, but there's a dynamic relationship between the groomsman and his buddies that he went to college with, and it's a running gag, I need to know that. Because then I'm no longer the outsider going, okay, the father is going to dance with his daughter now, everybody clap. When we can put in those things of, hey, here we go, ever since Camp Choye in 2007, you guys remember the song, getting online, here we go, playing their camp song.
Yeah.
In the middle of the wedding, they don't know it. Let's hear it, guys. Here's your microphones. What's your camp song? Oh, Choye, we're so proud. That's a freaking moment. And those are the things that come back, review. DJ Gordy was fantastic. It was so personal.
It's automatic. You don't even have to ask it for it most of the time.
But it's like with preparing a stand-up, an organic stand-up or improvising, it's your homework in advance. When that conference that we did, the classwork, it's not about you. You are just a vehicle. You're just a mouthpiece. You're just a speaker. It is about their response. Say things that make them feel good.
Yeah.
And that takes homework.
Well, earlier when you said it took a few months to do a 15-minute set.
Yeah, about 3 to 4 weeks for a 15-minute new material set.
So these comedy specials that are on Netflix, these comedians are saying it takes them a year.
Oh, yeah.
To prepare.
Yeah.
A year to do a 1-hour set. And what they do is they write a joke and they actually go to local pubs and try them out. To get the feel. Yeah. To get the feel out of it.
Oh, I know stand-up comedians that have 6 writers that they work with.
Yeah.
6
writers. Yeah. And then DJs just show up to a wedding and run it off the top of their head.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't need the scripts. I just go off my head.
I love the fact that some of the biggest songs that we've had at proms, man, they're throwing down Cardi B, you're dropping in here, you're going back and forth, a little sampling with Travis Scott, boom, boom, they're going, the mood's going. And then you do some kind of a patter. And you're like, guys, listen, man. The girls been coming up to me. Thought they were asking for requests. And they keep coming back. DJ Gordy, help us out. These guys are not getting it. We've been trying to give them something we've been trying to, for a year, I've been trying to give them some information of where we come from.
Uh-huh.
Is there anything you can do to help? You were a guy once, right? I'm like, yeah, I was a long time ago. So I got just the thing for you. And I've done that. And then drop, my name is No. Megan Trainor. Cue it up. Guys, this is for you, from the ladies, especially for you, nice. From the heart. Get where they're coming from. My name is No. And the girls have attitude, and the guys are all, no, cut it short. Wait. Fair pat. Okay, guys, ladies, for you.
Which one do you play?
Justin Timberlake's Love Yourself. Justin Bieber's Love Yourself. Just a little bit of attitude, but some of the biggest hits that got the most attitude, Little Einstein. Little freaking Einstein, the theme. And they lose it as it's personal for them. It's going back to their youth. They all do it together, and they're all, or handing out handing out 4 microphones.
Yeah.
For some different sing
This is a prom type events. Wow.
Yeah. I can't entertain them, but I can solicit and initiate their memories, their fun time, their responses.
You wouldn't play Looney Tunes for them, but you would play Little Einsteins.
Yeah. Looney Tunes is better.
For us.
Curtain lights. That would get me. Hey, we dropped that old, I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. And I'm sitting here. Do that for the old high school. Got another 50th high school reunion that they asked about. We'll go into those and we'll download all the commercial bits.
Yeah.
Going from 1969. Wow. And it was like, are you a Marlboro man? Have you got the stuff to be a Marlboro man?
That would be cool.
Are losing it. Because it's theirs. It belongs to them.
All of a sudden, you put a memory in them. They're in the living room playing with the cars or whatever. Yeah. And
none of that's about me.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what I look like. It doesn't matter what I'm wearing. None of it's about me.
Yeah.
I'm just a vehicle. I'm just a conduit.
Play some of those. Wow. See, I would have never thought of playing a commercial, but I can see how it. I mean, the commercial that maybe we grew up with would be, I don't know, the Toys R Us kid. That I grew up with. That's my era. Toys R Us kids was popular back in the 80s. And
TV theme shows.
Kmart.
TV theme show things.
Yeah, TV theme shows,
my wife and I'll do that from our misspent youth in the 70s. We know that's pretty sad. Let's see, can you recount, John 16:4 in the Bible? No, but I know every freaking word of both versions of Gilligan's Island. Because there was a time when it went from the movie star and the rest. And you could tell the agents, Mary Ann's agent, the professor's agent, got upset. And then they started including them.
Yeah.
It was like the movie star, the professor, and Mary Ann. So maybe not. That's a little...
No, I did. I do remember it did change once. I just didn't pay attention to the actual... I don't pay attention to words. That's the thing. I pay attention to the beat. Like, I won't... It's hard for me to memorize the song. But I can probably detect the difference between a beat and the difference between words on it. I can make that out like right away. Yeah, like if when they did certain songs in the 90s and then they brought it out and then they remade it with a
resample them.
Yeah, with a different beat, maybe just a little bit. I could tell right away. Like, oh, that's not.
Oh yeah,
they changed it up. That. Yeah. Or when you hear the first 3 seconds of a song, I can usually tell what song it is. Like just with the different hi-hats or beat, I can tell.
DJ Brent, I'm not good at that. And I'm a drummer too. I should know these things. But DJ Brent called me said, listen, man, I just heard, I could be way opposite.
Yeah.
I think it was Twerk by City Girls and Cardi B. He was like, what is this? He could, it's tip of his tongue. He couldn't remember.
Oh, the remake of it? The
And it was Back That Ass Up.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I couldn't think of it. He's like, Twerk It. And I was like, that was...
Well, see, it's
Gangnam
funny
Style. I don't know. Like I'm off in
I was watching the Netflix special hip hop. I think that's what it's called, something like that. And all that Louisiana twerk music started off with the same beat, the same.
Was that bounce? Was
bounce
the origin
music?
of that?
Bounce music. Yeah, I'm not twerk. Bounce music. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Brent was telling me that too. Yeah.
It was a lot of. Like the first few bounce songs were the same beat, just different words. I think Jubilee was the one that kind of started doing that. So it's not the City Girls is not back that thing up. It's a different one, but the same beat. It's
it came from that?
Yeah.
Really?
Now it does have some samples from. Song or what? It might be more of a Jubilee style music, but it's like it does have some. Juvenile beats in it though. It's like a weird mashup.
Pulling from the same
it's like
a
weird mashup. But I know I've heard that beat before. I just can't remember where. It's not the Back That Thing Up. It's more of a Jubilee, a DJ
horn,
Jubilee.
A little horn keyboard sample in there too. Was repetitive.
Yeah.
Bad
But they sample it, and I guess I gotta hear it again. But I don't know if it's back that as.
Any questions here?
I think people are listening. Mine Don't Freeze. Are y'all brothers?
Yes, we are.
Freak a Leak, he's saying. Freak a Leak is a different song.
Es my gato from another vato.
I got the. That's why I let my hair grow a little bit.
You see, you got hair when I get here too. I shined it today.
I don't. No questions today. I think people are just listening in. People go on their mind.
That's it.
Mike's usually the one that asks a lot of questions. He's probably busier out there.
Mike's got all his topics for some upcoming classes he's been putting down and things we need to discuss. You got Mike on here weekly.
Yeah.
He doesn't, you know what? He internalizes so much stuff. And trying to get anything out of him, he's just like, yeah, man, that's part of your groove. You got to rock your groove. You got to network your groove. And that's it. And the guy's got all this experience here. And when you finally...
You would have never known that
you got to give him tamales. You give him a good pork tamale, nice salsa verde, and he starts opening up.
I heard that.
Yeah.
I'm seeing why he wants...
been dodging me.
He wants to do he wants to do a party for tamale party.
Let's do it.
Yeah. I'm down.
You deliver my Uber Eats here.
Uber Eats. Oh, you know I have a question. There he goes. He's listening.
All right, bro.
He's out there.
Question. He's probably got the answer. Because every time I say, Mike, have you tried this? I discovered this is the newest thing. And he said, did you get the Model B12?
No, when I had Oscar back last week, he was telling me that Mike was a master at the turntables. I was like, what? I would have never realized.
The guy is so unassuming. Have you ever looked at his history, his background?
No, I have not done.
Okay, there's videos online of him getting beat to death by Chuck Norris.
What?
Mike was a stuntman on some of Walker, Texas Rangers. He's a producer. He's a writer. He's a director. He discovered his heritage. He's putting together a movie documentary about the influence of the Jewish community, the Jewish Latino community coming out of Galveston and settling in New Mexico. The guy is a Renaissance man, and he's, yeah. He was sampling with some jazz vinyl throwback mixing stuff here a couple of weeks back. Yeah. He's been in the game a long time.
But that's not something you can find on Facebook, right? You gotta.
No, I think you got to get him to open up.
Get him tamales.
But he's okay. Like many, there's people in the audience or people out there that, and if I hear it one more time, man, I was doing this back 30 years ago, and if it ain't vinyl, and I'm the Godfather, and I first brought music to Houston, like, shut up.
You put a vinyl nowadays.
Yeah, right. But no, Mikey is unassuming, and he just sits back and smiles, melon smile, and you know he's got some mileage under him. But,
he keeps it under wraps. We need to get him in here then. Probably do the record.
And mezcal.
All right, he has
lots
question
of mezcal.
now. Mezcal?
Mezcal and lots of tamales. We'll get him. No. What's he got?
Moonshine or mezcal? How did you get the name 5-Star Entertainers?
Because that's what our reviews were. And you know what's really ironic? When we changed the name over, even though I have a background in digital development, American Internet Management, that was my company, and I've done this and taught on the algorithms of Google and everything else, did this for a living, successfully, went to change our identity, and whatever reviews we had that were supposed to transfer over from DJ Gordy to 5-Star Entertainers, which were 5-star reviews, were lost forever. There's the irony of it. So actually had to call people back and say, hey, you know how you said nice stuff about us before? Would you do it again?
Wow.
But that is the thing. Our whole thing, it's bravado. It's our approach is we want to be perfect. And just
shooting for 5 stars every time.
If we drop the ball on something, we'll make it right however we can. And that is something with weddings, redundancy in equipment. There are times we will have 3 sets of stuff redundancy. We got generators standing by where if a car hits a transformer down the block, we can save the day. If there's
a lightning strike, that's very
whatever.
powerful.
It is, we seriously, for weddings especially, and that's one of the reasons why I don't like weddings. There's so much work that we want it to be absolutely flawlessly perfect, above reproach and everything. And when it doesn't happen, last wedding we did, Ivan was there with me. They wanted some Latin music. So he was like, hey man, yeah, I'll come over and help you.
Yeah.
This is a nightmare for me. It about makes me want to throw up. We'd met with the bride several times. We had everything queued up. The night before I called her, did you guys decide, do you want to do the full version of your song, or do you want to edit out Chris Young's song? I said, do you want to edit out at the 3-minute and 20-second mark where it's not too long? And she's like, no, we want to do the full version. Okay, great. We queue up the song. She turns to me for the dance floor. We're doing a different song. We emailed it to you.
What?
Yeah. So
did you
immediately
even see the email?
No, I still have never seen it.
Oh, she never made it.
Well, it's the day of, or it happened after a bachelorette party, or I just dropped the ball. Whatever happened, it was a breakdown in communication. Great learning curve, and that's our new thing we'll be saying in the contract. If you communicate with us and we don't give you a confirmation, a thumbs up, or just got it, we did not get it. We can't operate under that assumption. We'd already met with them 3 times. We went and had dinner with her folks, cross T's, dot I's.
Wow.
But
I'm
fell through the cracks.
Probably she thought she sent it and never sent it, because that day is like very.
But that's just
for
it.
them, yeah.
For us, then that we need to include that in the list of what can happen. Rain can happen, electricity can happen, mics can go out, and brides can forget something.
It's added.
Up on us. Yeah. How do we put in contingency plans? If you're going to fly an airplane and not have it fall out of the sky,
you need to know everything. Detail. And that's a new one to add.
What's that?
That's a new one to add, like bride forgetting to email. Like double check even before. So it's still the same song.
Well, then the approach. Yeah. And again, and Ivan was on the deck, so I'm on the microphone at this point. We're queued up here. I didn't even have the song. It was a little bit of an obscure song. So I introduced the father, who was addressing everybody. His toast had moved up. Ivan's loading the music. So we recovered it. But the approach for that was not hey, wait, it's not our fault, self-effacing. It's like, all right, hey, guys, little confusion here. Forgive us.
Yeah.
But, humiliating. It was awful.
Silent. Yeah, you can't. Well, that's the
We didn't get a 5-star review from that one. Actually, I think she would give one, but I'm not gonna ask her. She was happy.
But you can't avoid that. I think I've had that a couple times. But they do email it to me, and the thing is that you leave sometimes so early for the event. And if it's out in the middle of nowhere where there's no internet, then, what can you do? I mean...
I would think probably a way that we're going to rectify that, and she did not have a wedding coordinator on that day. I think it would be a last minute before we're going, okay, we're going to introduce the bride and groom here, take 2 minutes. Let's go over this, the wedding coordinator. And
yeah, because I've gotten the first dance the day of the wedding plenty of times.
Yeah.
And if I'm still home, I just download it and go with it. And I've gotten a couple of times where I'm on my way over there, and then I get the call. It's like, I just emailed you the name of the song that we want for the, for our first dance or father-daughter dance. Usually it's a father-daughter. Mostly it's the father-daughter, mother-son dance that I'll get last minute.
Well, that's a benefit. It's a learning opportunity.
Yeah.
When it dropped the ball. Again, the wedding wasn't ruined. She wasn't unhappy. It actually came across as genuine and fine. I don't think I was bothered. I'm sure Ivan was bothered, on doing
made it happen.
It was recoverable, but learning opportunity. Yeah. Next time I sit down with a bride, the very next time it's going to be, listen, that sometimes this will happen. There'll be a last minute change of plans. We're going to put this in place. So I normally will not talk to the bride on the day of the wedding. All of our stuff needs to be done in advance.
Yeah.
The day before we call and confirm everything, but we do want to have a time to sit down with you for about 4 minutes, and we're just going to go over just to make sure everything is exactly the way you want it.
Hasn't changed.
Then you won't see me again. I think that would be worthwhile.
Or
if we can't do it with the bride, we can do it with the wedding coordinator or maybe
maid of honor. Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, question from suggestion from Mike. Talk about the husband and wife tag team pros and challenges.
Oh, that one. Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know. First thing, the only thing I know for sure that I can say positively is harder is the worst ever safe word ever. Do not want that for a safe word. All right, I've been so blessed, and the fact that Becky, my wife, was resistant to DJing, and since we had had similar experiences, although very different styles and different approaches in working with children and family setting, we had been in entertainment. And I had encouraged her that the DJing would work, and flying in the face of the 400 plus here in Houston DJs.
At least,
you know, there are so many guys with a goatee and a bald head, or younger guys, and they all look the same.
They start looking the same after
everything else. There's a few women DJs in Houston that are just why they don't own the world.
Yeah,
and everything is phenomenal. And I've said this before. In total objectivity, Becky's ability as a DJ, she added the DJ stuff when she first got on the decks. After the first song, I said, "This is how you do it. We use the turntables here. This is how you mix." She's never used auto sync a day in her life.
Really? Oh, nice.
She immediately started blending, and she loved music and knew the popular music that, you know, she's had to immerse herself, of course, in contemporary stuff, just like I have too. And I do most of the music preparation. We go over and say, "Hey, there's this new song out. This one's hitting. This isn't. We've rebuilt this verse because this is an objectionable, really nasty verse. We took that out." But if it's all the classic music, she knows it, knows the artist, knows everything. When she brought her being able to entertain a group of 150 or 200 kids without music, then you get to bring in music too.
Yeah,
it's a benefit to you. And when she is, without a doubt, in kids events, you go to a pool party, I'm pretty good at it. I am. I give myself an 8.5 or 9.
Yeah.
She's a 12. It is just her element. She is so engaging. And that's something we ought to do classes on, because working with kids and the dynamics of how people function, what makes them follow direction, what makes them initiate and get out, and icebreakers and stuff. Anytime that I've watched her, and I've encouraged Ivan, and I think Argelio came over to one of our Wacky Wednesday night things, and watching her, the typical nightmare for DJs is 11 or 12-year-old boys that are just wanting to break everything, destroy everything, and be. She will start laying a groundwork of what the dynamic is between her and those boys, and how they're going to be part of the party and everything else from the moment she gets there. And it is genius to watch. And she does all these things. It's almost a latent effect because she's been doing it for so many years. But when she gets up to the part in the party where she's trying to go boys versus girls in this contest, or you know, 6th graders versus 5th graders, she's already got a dynamic where they're in place. Okay, she's tiny. She's half my size. They have more respect for her than they do my 6'2", 300-pound behemoth. They'll play me. I'm a punk.
Yeah.
They listen to her. It is a phenomenal thing. I'd love to see her teach. If she may just know these things so innately that I don't even know if she knows how to communicate. She said, just don't put up with their crap. Just do this, do that.
Yeah.
But in answer to Mikey's question, the fact that she has those abilities and I have my strong points, and we're black and white, we're salt and pepper, we complement each other so well in those things. And we've worked together so many years doing vacation Bible schools and different things where I was doing the sound and the patter back and forth, that we've now taken that approach to the business in general. Prime example, I am no longer allowed, I am permanently banned from discussing money with any client. She'll shoot me in the kneecaps. I suck at it.
You're a sucker for
I give everything
discounts.
away, everything else. She is the business manager.
Wow.
And she's also 7. She's the inner child. She knows how to communicate that. And yeah, but Mikey, I know Mikey talks about it all the time. He's like, dude, it's so amazing to have a partner in that setting.
Well, that's
and
interesting.
Man.
Yeah.
There's no way we could do any of the things we do without each other.
So she has a mindset of an adult, but she also has the mindset of to be able to communicate with the kids and be a part of the kid, like be a part of the
she'll go to Disney with these elaborate production plans of, this is the best flight. I saved us $8. We got this seat here. We're going here. This bus is going to pick us up at 10:41. That'll get us there just in time. We're in the front of the line as the other bus comes in at 10:52. All the logistics working there. And then she goes into Disney and she's pushing the kids out of the way. Me. It's different.
That's nice.
Different. It's really cool.
All right, so we got two for Mike. It's already 12. I know you got to leave in a little bit.
Yeah, I do.
Do you want to do, which one do you want to do? How do you see a professional mobile DJs getting $5,000 local in the near future, or do you want to how important are attending industry DJ conventions? Which one?
The last time I went to Mobile Beat, I was not a fan because it was an ego show. There was very little communication that was educational, that was sharing, that was inspiring, that was motivational. There was so much of this is what I've done and this is what we do.
Yeah, I mean, see, that's where I get my that's where I get my level of ego of DJs, right, from watching some of these in YouTube and some of these DJs. The ego is, I did this and I can only I can do this. And
in our Halos question, $5,000 for DJs. I think that dog was shot.
Yeah.
And I think very much within certain cultures, I'm gonna get edgy here.
Okay.
I'm gonna be the gringo with a price on his head here. I'll put this in contrast so that it's separate and everybody thinks about it. Again, I'm a sociology major, so this is how I break stuff down. And because I say, well, this is my study, then I get a free pass on it. The contrast in Asian culture from Guangdong to Hong Kong,
okay,
or 50 miles north up into mainland China. There are three different cultures right there. Hong Kong is cutting edge. It is development. It's entrepreneurial. They're doing things that nobody's ever done before. You can get squid with chocolate sauce that the chef came up with. Go 20 miles north up into Guangzhou, and there's a huge multi-billion-dollar industry where they are taking other people's intellectual property and they're producing it for less money. Sometimes they're tweaking a little bit, but there's very little development, very little entrepreneurial things. It is, we're going to work on this. 50 miles north of that, it is completely agricultural. The median income is around $1,000 a year, very modest income. Parallel that to the United States with Latin America. The cultures that emphasize and really give importance to tradition, there is typically very little innovative development. And I've seen very little true inspirational, what's the word I'm looking for here? Something that's transformative within, and make no mistake, I think the Latin DJ influence is the controlling influence here in Houston. I think probably about 85% of DJs have some Hispanic heritage in them. There's almost always some Latin music there. Within the culture of Tejano music has almost no evolution over the past 30 years. You can hear something from 30 years ago. Where in contrast, look at rock. You had punk, you had metal, you had hair bands, you went through grunge, all different development, different experimental things. That hasn't happened within the other culture. In metropolitan areas, you look at West Coast, East Coast, even here in Houston, people will start doing, go back to food service. I'm a foodie guy here. They'll start doing new things with food. They are pushing the edge. They're doing something brand new, and they separate themselves from the rest of the market, all their competitors, by doing something bigger, better, more amazing, or brand new. Within the Latin culture, it is, we'll do the same thing they do for less.
Yep.
Which is what happens in China. It is the opposite of Hong Kong. Hong Kong, the median income is around, I haven't studied this in a while, I think it was around $80,000 a year. It's one of the most expensive cities to live in. Yeah. Guangzhou is probably probably
still kind of cheap, yeah,
but $25,000, $30,000 a year income.
Probably
about $1,000.
Median, maybe. Yeah.
To be a $5,000 an event DJ, is the market out there? Absolutely. Are you going to get it by going, I'm just like everybody else?
No.
Why? It would never happen. There's never going to be, you cannot go get a Big Mac and pay $40 for it. But you may be able to go in and get a Crab Mac with hollandaise sauce and a mole for that kind of money, if it's something different. This race to the bottom and the sites like Bride to Bride, where it's just competitive and the standards lowering, I think is one of the most disgusting things to the entertainment industry. And I think that's why you have brides that when you ask them at Hobby Lobby, you're going to have a DJ like, oh God, no. There are a lot of DJs out there performing that if I ever hired them, I'd be like, oh God, no, too.
Yeah.
I don't want them anywhere near my stuff. They're hacks.
That's true.
They're douchebags. They're a walking stereotype. And just because they do it cheap, no thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's potential out there. Our approach is to do something nobody's ever done before. We want to do it well. If there's some standard where they're like, listen, we need somebody to come in and fill the traditional DJ role, there are people that are going to do it better than I do it, better than Becky does it. It's probably best for us to say, okay, yeah, here, let's send that to this person. That's in their wheelhouse. I'm not going to work at a club. There's no reason for me to.
Right. Especially for $150 a night.
Or 40.
Oh, Lord.
You know, it keeps going down more and more.
I think
every year the price is going down and down and down. And that's DJs doing it to each other.
Yep.
That's guys, hey, I bought 2 powered speakers, or I'm going to borrow 2 powered speakers.
And it's growing every year.
And I bought a terabyte of music offline, and
yeah, I
can go suck and nobody knows.
Or nobody cares. Well, that's what they think.
Yeah.
All right. I guess it's a good time to start saying our goodbyes. We had a few more comments. Mike question.
Is it something we can address real quick?
But I'm seeing brides talking about how important DJs are. Yeah, they do say it's important, but they don't want to pay the price.
Right on.
Yeah, we're getting freezes.
Well, it's our job to communicate to them of what we do. If it's playing the music, they're going to show up and play the music and say, all right, everybody, here is your time for the bride.
That's another pretty intense topic because we can go different places. I mean, you yourself are going for the cream of the crop, but you're also bringing the service, the entertainment, the value with it. You're not just saying, I'm going to charge $4,000 or $5,000, $3,000
for the same thing. Yeah.
For the cookie cutter, fake voice DJ.
Well, the challenge is communicating that because they really don't have a standard.
That is the big challenge.
Of letting them know why do we charge what we charge? Yeah. What are you getting out of it?
Yeah.
And it's not going to appeal to many of them.
No.
It's only going to be 5%.
Especially if their mindset is set at $400, $500. It's that big 10%, 100% jump.
Right on.
Well, I think you had some really interesting points. I do want to thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me.
This thing's going to be recorded. I will email it to you soon. But
cool.
I think you had some good topics. I think we could have gone another hour, but you got some
back.
Priorities.
We'll do it again.
So that means you got to make the hour drive again.
Right on.
Thanks for driving. Thank you for all your information. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the donuts.
Sure. Sorry about that.
And
tell somebody, man, don't bring me donuts.
No. Appreciate it. I hadn't had a donut in a while, and it was really good. Anyway, guys, we got to sign off. Thank you guys for joining us. Mike, thanks for the question. Argelio, thank you for all the